If everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I can get around to it.
Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Clerk, do we have a quorum present?
No.
All right, it is noted that we do not have a quorum present. We would like our thoughts to go out to the individual council members that are not here today because of illness. We hope y'all feel better. We don't have any proclamations, however. We do, so, Brad, should we review the minutes and
We can't vote on them.
can't vote on them?
Yeah, unless y'all have some corrections that could be done, before the next.
Tom has one correction,
So,
that he's providing Floyd.
does that need to be read in the record, or just handed, is that fine?
It's not.
Okay. All right, thanks, Tom, I'll make the corrections. So then, to clarify, since we have no quorum, and there won't be another until November 14th, that's our next meeting. These will be on the 14th agenda,
Okay, sure.
as corrected.
Sure.
Okay.
I didn't see, well, let me read. Okay, we'll just reread them and look at them then. So moving on, back parking lot update, I'll still go ahead and provide you guys some information. The concrete work has been kicked back until about the third week of October. The week of October 19th, they will hopefully get the concrete work in here, do the curbs, the gutters, the sidewalks, and then the walking trail. Then they'll come back with some more rock and then come back with the asphalt, and then we'll be getting closer to getting the back parking lot done. The work is continuing. Sometimes they have to shift the crews based on demand or truck availability. That was one of the things that slowed us down since our last meeting. They had the truck shortage for about a week, so we lost a week there. Appreciate the county, the workers they have out here are great. Officer Joe White is great to work with, and a lot of experience out there, working for us, so I appreciate that. We have a budget review. I'm gonna turn this over to Floyd because he has some, not necessarily changes to it, but he has some updates to the, form that I know that he would like to, talk about.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than what you're used to. I actually gave you 3 pages. The third page is just the comparative, like what you're used to. But I'm looking at page 13, by the way, in your agenda packet. That's gonna be your income statements that we have. We have the statement that came in for the end of this month. We just got it this morning, so these are fresh numbers as of this morning. For income, we've received 89% of the expected revenues. Those 89% have come in. But you'll see I have some boxes at the bottom. I have to label the first box designated funds, and it's divided between your ARPA funds and local maintenance or LMIG funds. And so you're gonna see in ARPA, you have $134,000. That has to be spent by December of 2024. And there is some pressure at the US federal government to have those monies returned if cities don't start declaring how they want to use them. We're actually working on potential uses right now, including codification of ordinances. The other is gonna be the LMIG funds. I know we've thought of that quite often, but these are what we also have as LMIG. If you look over onto the right-hand side of it, you're gonna see our general fund, and I have $568,000 in our general fund. Backing out those designated funds we just went over, it leaves an M&O $414,000. And then beneath that is our SPLOST 2019. You'll see what we had at the end of this month in SPLOST, $216,000. We had an approved budget for this year of $57,000. We've received $69,000 in this fiscal year. And of it, we've spent $2,268 on funds, which means that we have aggregate for this year $67,000 that we've received. Makes sense? 67 received this year, in total $216,000. That's what we have. The second page is our expenses, and you'll see that we have spent 54%. It's notable to say that we were at the end of September, which means we're 75% of the year done. And we've only spent 54% of expended or approved expenses. So I think we're definitely on track. If this goes how I think, we potentially could exceed going over 100% in revenue expenses or revenue projections. And I think we're gonna be in pretty good shape is what we see. So I think big issues are gonna be which do ARPA and only funds. There's gonna have to be addressed. Besides that, I think we're in good shape.
Good deal. Okay, thank you. Okay, good deal. And so eventually, this will kind of be a template for when we branch out and when the time is right. I don't know if it'll be 23, maybe sometime in 24, who knows, sometimes after that. We will grow beyond just our general fund into a capital improvement fund, into infrastructure fund, any kind of designation that we need to, but breaking it out like this gives us a much better picture of, you know, what money we've got available to then turn around and put back into it. So thank you for that, Floyd, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I agree, as we get more designations going different ways, that we can
Get 'em
absolutely break it down and show where we're designated.
Okay. Under old business, we've got the Beckham House, just the home inspection reports. We don't really have, you know, I don't have any new information to bring, to you. I think what we need to do is just kind of, I mean, same thing that we've talked about, you know, over the last year, so we just need to decide if we want to go ahead and make arrangements to remove the house, think about
I think
repurposing
it's nearly over.
the property for repurposing the structure, and, you know, just taking those steps with costs and everything.
Well, how you gonna structure that?
So what I think I wanna do is just make out a list for council. Say option one is to repair it and fix all those problems noted in here. Option two is dismantle it. Option three is repurpose it. Option four is push in and cart off. And then we go through them.
Okay.
So any other questions or thoughts before I go into the public comments?
Other than with regards to Beckham House, we deferred the vote last time, because we wanted a full council. Now we can't even take the vote, so we're sort of
True.
bouncing it back again,
Okay.
but it'll just have to come up on the next agenda.
Yep, okay. Anything else on new business or old business?
No.
All right, public comments. Public comment section.
Yes,
So, Alan, I know that you have something specific with the church
Yes,
that you wanted to mention.
Sharpsburg Baptist on October 22nd is going to have something called Music on the Green, or Concert on the Green, with free barbecue and lots of good entertainment, local bands. Come on out, enjoy a free barbecue sandwich, chips, drink, and some good music. And we're just trying to invite some of these new neighborhoods and people into our church and get them involved with what we do. So, anyway,
The 27th, from what time?
22nd.
22nd.
Yes,
Oh,
2-2.
2, okay. And what's the time?
5 till 7, 8.
Okay.
Okay?
Cool, wonderful, thank you.
All right.
Ms. Polly?
yeah, I got a question. I know you can't vote on it,
Mhm.
but have y'all gotten estimates on each one of those options do you have numbers on those yet, or you?
We have numbers
Rough.
on about half of it. We don't have any good numbers on demolition, because we'd actually wanna probably go out and get quotes on that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can look at the restructure number and know it's gonna be hundreds of thousands to do it, or, you know, moving it, or, but yes, we have some numbers, we don't have all of them.
Second question, what's your procedure for your emails? I've emailed, and I'm speaking to the choir now, 2 accounts, but you never get a response when you email your council members.
Here in town,
Yeah,
um,
I know you can't make them do anything,
Right,
but it would
right.
be nice if you, cause the last one I sent, I asked, cause I sent them before, I never got a response, except from you and Tom.
Right,
And, the last time I sent it, I asked to please respond if you get this, and I got a response. I did not get a
Okay.
response.
I did
And
not.
I'm
I did
saying
not
you-
open that email, or I did not read that email, so I didn't respond to you when you asked for it.
To be clear, I'm responding to the emails I get from you. I think you.
Oh, yeah, well, you're
Yeah.
not on the council.
But I'm not counsel, so.
You don't get to have an opinion.
Yeah,
Well,
no-
you can, but not here.
No, so what we do is we provide the email, inbox, outbox, and they can log on at their convenience, and some of them forward it to their personal email, some of them don't. I did it for a little while, now I keep them separate. You know, it's just, we encourage them to check it, you know.
So everybody's to each his own, basically. Okay.
I don't think there's an enforcement mechanism on how council replies to emails, so it's really up to them.
But yeah, you always do. And I don't pester anybody to death. I think I've sent 2 in the last 3 months.
Right. Was there something in there that you needed me to answer?
No, it was a question that came up, y'all brought up at the last council meeting, something about you wish you were like Senoia. And because they were, how they progressing and everything, and I mentioned the fact that they had a committee that worked with that, and I couldn't think of the name of it, but there are 2 of them, there's a DDA and a DCA. And I was just thinking it would be kinda nice if we could get a committee of people, don't laugh, I know that's kinda funny, but
No, I'm with you.
But help out, because like you say, y'all are limited, there's a lot going on, and it's limited to how you, 1 person or 2 person or all of you can get everything done. Some of you are not retired yet.
So I knew that they had a DDA, and that is one of the things that has come up in conversation. Did you say they have a DCA or?
There's a DCA, and I don't know what they've got, I can't remember. But there's such a thing as the DDA and the DCA, and the DDA, when I was here before, had somebody from Georgia, the GMA, that would come and make a presentation and make suggestions and say what you could do to make things better.
Yeah.
And you were in town at that time, you were a merchant then.
Yep.
But I don't know what they have, but I do know it works.
So one of the things that we have batted around, or it has come up in just slightly discussions, is forming a DDA. Initially, while we were first settling in and we were replacing a majority of council, I didn't want to add too much at the time, but now maybe we need to revisit adding a DDA. I think that is a great vehicle for investing in property and economic development and all the things that we talk about wanting to do. So one of the things that I think is on our radar is looking at starting a DDA. That is a process. It can be done, but it is a process, but I think it's something we need to look at because that's what people used to grow.
But I also, and now this was a while back, I didn't check since I sent the email, but the lady that was running the one in Senoia was a business person. She had a business in town, so that doesn't, you've got business people that could be
Right.
doing that.
Yes.
And it would be to their benefit, their great benefit, to have more people around.
Absolutely. Okay,
That was it.
that's it, okay. Mr. Bridges?
I'm gonna send another one to test you though.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
All right, hey guys, is it a y'all got a quorum?
No, we don't.
Okay.
It's not.
All right, so a couple things, we talked, I've gotten a lot of calls about using parking, you and I talked, and, kind of talked with the family a little bit, and I told you, don't really wanna get in that. I always, it's fine, you can call and ask, and I do ask my tenants before I say, and I tell them it's up to them, you know.
Absolutely.
And the little, I told you the story, the little lady at the church, you know, had an issue. We got one lady squared away, old time Sharpsburg resident, and she called me and she asked me, so I was like, that's fine, we can work that out part wherever you want to. But, as we're thinking about it as a family, you know, we've just been doing like verbal stuff, and you're gonna cover me on insurance and liability, yeah, we got you, and I'm thinking that's a little risky.
Sure.
So we're, you know, if there's any, now you have obviously a need for parking with everything going up, but we really need to formalize something something if we wanna do that. And I will tell you that the little lady at the church just said, she said, no, I don't wanna do any of that anymore. I don't want you loaning out. I don't wanna loan out the parking lot that I lease from. And I said, fair enough. And we talked about that, East Coweta kind of migrated up there and it interfered with their Wednesday night, prayer meeting. So I just telling you our stance on that, and we can, you know, talk about things, you know, but hopefully y'all will have adequate parking and everything will be good. Other thing, Blue and I were talking, and, you know, always go back to sidewalks and stuff, and look, that, you know, that's an issue that's gone. That was an issue over, you know, damages and whatnot, and we've kind of talked around things about, there needs to be a problem or a way to fix the problem and a known kind of solution, all right, and always money's involved. So I started thinking, it was very odd, I had my mom and had to come run some errands down here, and she wanted to come look around, so we were looking around, and I started thinking, you know, there were ADA issues with the sidewalks from Discovery in the last issues we had. And I'm thinking that might be a perfect way to kind of get money or have more interest in fixing some of the sidewalks that are there and making them, you know, what we're asking for and fixed, you know, appropriately. And I think that was something that, it was just kind of one of those things. My mom's out in a walker on the sidewalks. I'm like, you know, that's something that in the future, I mean, it's a liability to me and to you, having that if we put people in there. So I went ahead and Blues, you're always like, you know, give me something in writing. So I got a, y'all's public service request, and I just filled them out and made some copies, and I'll give y'all every one of them that kind of helps some of the language around making, you know, something where we can get some teeth into getting some kind of, I don't know, federal funding is something that would be there. Or somehow, when you're calling out, you know, those kind of situations, it could help fix a lot of the problem. I mean, the cracking down here on this end, the issues that I have in front of our buildings, manhole cover, I mean, those are all potential liabilities that maybe we can get resolved, you know, by presenting this, hey, this is a concern, we need help, we need funding, we need, you know, that's always the thing, right, is the funding. So hopefully, you know, maybe that would have some teeth to get some other entities outside of maybe the Department of Transportation. I don't know what they, you know, they were able to do stuff before. You know, can they add stuff? And I know y'all in some of your previous minutes, I read you're looking at doing more sidewalks. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm definitely interested in fixing the ones we got, because those are gonna tie into whatever you do in the future. And, you know, it needs to be done right, and needs to be safe, and just needs to be, something we can all be proud of. So that's really all I had in comments, on that. Excuse me, Ms. Paul.
All right, thank you. We will, look at it and see what we can do and see what our options are, basically.
And just let me know, I mean, you know, include me in on things, I can, whatever documents or whatever materials they need, you know, to help. You know, we'll be glad to help.
So what are your thoughts on the awning? Can the awnings come down? Because
That was a sort of a sticking point for Herb. I think, you know, I mean, if that's a real major issue, we could figure out how to reconstruct the awnings, trying to keep them as historically preserved as possible. You know, I would definitely leave that to some professionals to say, hey, you know, what are our options? But that's something that concerns me too, because the way the sidewalks are built up, I mean, if you're 6'5", and walk under that, or maybe, I can't remember what the height was, but if you're a little bit taller than you, you know, it could be an issue, and it's kind of my building on your sidewalk.
And some tall guy's head.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's, cause they're offset, one of them's offset than the other, and, I mean, Dad worked that out, you know, he just said, this is something historic, you know, you can come do whatever you want, build a nice, brand-new sidewalk, but let's don't get rid of the historic, you
Yeah, I
know.
agree with you. That adds another layer of charm to those buildings.
I don't know, I mean, I've seen them where they cabled them up, I don't know if it's high enough to get that angle to hold them up. I mean, you know, we could look at different things, if y'all are willing to fix those sidewalks, we would definitely, like I said, we would not, you know, be so stupid to say, oh, they gotta be there. I mean, Herb did, but, you know, y'all tried to work around it, but the problems that were kinda solved the wrong way. in
Yeah,
my
I
opinion.
don't think, from my standpoint, my personal view, I don't see the continuation of those things being there as a problem. Certainly not a deal breaker. Because you can, like I said, you know, you talk about a matter of inches, and that's not much of an angle change, and there are a lot of engineering ways you can do it, and without messing up the character of it.
Yeah, I mean, like
Do
I
you think
said,
those buildings are salvageable?
oh, yeah, yeah.
Think so?
I mean, they're, like, one of them's good, well, we're finishing up, I finally found some old antique tin that actually matches the, you know, I don't know, Dad called it the blacksmith shop. It's that real small, corrugated, and I found some in South Alabama, and Bill brought it up here Labor Day, so I've got that to actually cover that tin roof. So that one is good. We lifted it up, we preserved it there. 98 is pretty well preserved. It's been, you know, fixed up, mitigated some of the water issues as best I could. 102 is, you know, it's just sort of a shack of a building, but it's good. I mean, I had it rented, I don't know, a year or so ago. 96 is the only one that it's got a roof leak. I gotta get that back left corner repaired. The scupper vents or scuttle vents, whatever you call them, that go out, it needs to be kind of reconfigured.
That's the yellow one, the yellow building?
No, Yellow Bill's 102, 98, and then 96
Okay.
is the short brick bank building, as we call it. But yeah, they're, you know, they're good. I mean, they don't look, they don't look good, but they're,
Well, they look good to me. I think I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
They look better with people in them and customers, and
Yeah.
customers.
yeah. You know, and different ideas are on the table, as you talked to me about, you know, the other day, that's all to be considered. It's, you know, just a give and take, see where we can meet in the middle and make everybody happy.
Polling the council, we got one of you to poll.
We sat down with Brad the other day and talked about the enforcement of the different city codes. And the question came up whether Safe Built, I'm assuming this was the question that came up, whether Safe Built, their contract included inspection or not. Because at one point they didn't think they did, is that right?
Are you guys, they do inspections, but it's on a per call basis.
On a per call
You have to
basis.
call them, they'll come out.
All right. There's also $500 on the budget for this year for municipal court. And you're not gonna be able to use the municipal court to enforce existing existing violations, whether or not Safe Built's involved, unless you budget some money for it. You know, and I would imagine that you could view it as a bucket of money to pull from if you don't need it.
Right.
So I would urge you to shift about, $5,000 over that.
I think we had $5,000 in it back in 19, and then I think we just slowly whittled it away, but yeah, we can certainly put some in
Stick it
there.
back in there,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah, and we can always move it around if we don't use it towards the end of 23.
Right, and to clarify, it's actually professional services.
Mm-hmm.
That's code enforcement and audio, like what we're doing. And the current budget year is 2,000, of which 500 is allocated to code enforcement.
He's talking about the municipal court. He wants to have
Oh, the
more
code-
court so
Well,
that
the
we
court-
can,
The code enforcement we're talking about,
Have
that's
the-
$500.
yes, it is. Well, the enforcement of it is 500 under the municipal court expenditures. Code enforcement is up under our professional services, which is a total of 2,000. So we have code enforcement money, but we don't have the money to enforce it as like going to municipal court. We need to put some more money in there.
Yeah.
But we have the relationship with,
With municipal court.
yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is that volume related, or you just have an association with them, period?
We have an intergovernmental agreement, correct, with Judge Strickland for municipal
And he
services?
said he would honor it, although it's expired.
Right.
And the only time it's been used in the last couple of years was for,
With dogs, on
animal
rules, so-
control.
Right. We had one animal control place.
We had 7 or 8, issues that never got followed through with. And I don't know if that was because there was no money to do it, or.
So, that's, you talking about those set of letters,
Right.
around 2018, 2019?
Right.
Those were, those were never sent out, and at that time, we did not have municipal court. So, yeah, there were some other reasons why it didn't happen, but you're correct, we didn't have municipal court at that time.
Well, I'd like to get it set up where we've got the municipal court in position, we've got Strickland in position, we've got money to carry forward with it, and budget it in such a way that if you don't need it, well,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
oh,
put it somewhere
absolutely,
else.
oh, yeah, we can always do that, that's one of the good things I like about our flexibility, is we can do that with council approval, of course, but yeah.
That's all I have.
Administrator, minutes?
Couple of things. First of all, this meeting will not really have a formal set of minutes because there is no quorum. I've got notes, but there's no vote, so it'll just be notes more than anything, sort of like we're doing work sessions. Is that not correct?
Ooh, since
Is that not
we had two public speakers, I'd like to have a little more
A little
robust
beefier,
notes.
but I don't know that it stands for a vote.
Well, I mean, yeah, we won't be able to vote on it because
Yeah,
we're
but
not here.
you
But
can
it's still the
report
notes
on
of it.
what
Just the
happened.
notes.
Yeah.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that.
Yeah.
A couple of things from a work session meeting, there was discussion about doing the zoning ordinance and potentially using ARPA funds. I've spoken to GMA, and their position is we can use ARPA funds for codifying. They sent me some information on reviewing it, they've asked me to run it to the attorney, which I will do, to just make sure that we're all in good legal standing. At that point, we can start codifying and narrowing down, what do we really have as zoning ordinance, we have that going. I have a series of quotes that I was going to bring forward for a vote. Some of these are rather time sensitive, but since we don't have a quorum, I'm not quite sure how to handle this. They all are above.
What we'll do is,
Yeah.
once you get the third quote that you're looking for, you'll just call council and say, these are the quotes, this is what we wanna do, this is what staff recommends.
And then we can even drop that back on agenda
Yeah,
as a
and-
ratify, as opposed to, but some of
Yes.
these we're gonna have to move upon.
Yeah.
And I've got a series of 3 of them that
Okay.
have to come up. Just got a lot of, stokes in the fire, otherwise I could spend a lot of hours talking about a lot of stuff we're doing. But I would say that we are looking at some really good progress on several items. And when work session comes in a couple of weeks, I'll have a broader overview.
Okay, excellent.
Touch on the schedule,
Do what now?
touch on the schedule for November.
The only meeting we have in November is on November 14th. Normally it would be the first Monday like what we're doing now, but there is going to be an election in this room and the election equipment on November 7th, which would have been the normal day. So we're bumping it to November 14th. That's your only meeting. The only other meeting you have would be conflicting with Thanksgiving weekend.
Not gonna have a working session?
So there's no working session in November, just one meeting in November.
If we wanna keep momentum and we wanna add one, I don't mind, especially if we're adding one for November, and we have like 6 weeks to notice, I don't mind, we can find a date and add one if you wanna keep our momentum going.
and I'd like to see you do it.
Okay. Let's see if we can't find a date in November for a work session.
And we've got two or three big things that we're working on, or I say big things, but you know, the Beckham House is it's going, if we can wrap that up, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then you've got, something else, I forgot what it was. It'll come to me.
You have Beckham, you have codification, you have zoning.
Yeah, you know, you're gonna have to cobble together some framework for that work, for the group, for the meeting, for the
Yes.
planning,
Yeah, for the
planning group,
Yeah, the planning group.
which could dovetail, or could include discussions on that DDA.
Mhm. Yes, no, actually it will, yeah, that was the second thing on that, was adding the DEA.
That, you know, part of your planning,
Mhm.
planning discussions would include that, is
Yeah.
my point.
Okay. So that would,
Be a reason to have a working session.
okay, yeah, we'll find a date not in November. Do you wanna do it in the evening, or you wanna do it during the day?
Evening.
Evening,
Yeah, 'cause
okay.
otherwise, you're just gonna have me and you,
Yeah.
but everybody else works.
Alright. Okay, so as far as mayor's updates, like Tom said, we've got a couple of bigger projects that are going on, pleased with them. I do wish the parking lot was going a little bit quicker, but at the end of the day, it's gonna look better, it's gonna work better, and it's gonna be better, I think, for everybody. Love to make some forward progress on the downtown agreements and getting some things in place. Maybe a parking agreement will be a good start. The master planning group that is just working on some long-range plans, setting up different budgets, doing the DDA. Slowly but surely, we're pushing things in the direction they need to go.
Once the guy comes and starts working on this building, painting, these floors are gonna look mighty ratty.
Well,
Is it just concrete on here?
I think so.
Could you not do some of that nice new concrete finishing?
No, because the dancers have, the concrete would be too slick with the dancers. And they go, woo, like that.
Not me, then you dance more carefully, but okay.
Slippy socks.
Oh. Some of them little socks you get to the hospital with the little rubber bottoms on it.
Alright, so I guess I can't call for a vote to adjourn, but I guess technically we're adjourned. Thank y'all for coming, we appreciate it.